Next slide, please. So this information can be extracted for any country and assessed in terms of water availability in the streams, either for Nigeria or Kenya. This is just an example. Next slide. Or we can also use this in river basin assessment. I think my colleague Ufa has shown you some examples for Kenya. Some of this data has been used there. So we are showing the Senegal River Basin or the Congo Basin. And we have this data from 2000 to 2021. And we have updated it now to 2024. Next slide, please. Okay, so once we have all this information, remember, we try to understand water availability for irrigation, for example. So here we are showing an example for the Niger River Basin, okay? The Niger River Basin, where we want to understand early or late stream flow variability. We also want to understand the seasonality and intensity of the river flow, and we also want to understand what are the changes or the patterns that are happening in the river basin. And this would directly inform irrigation planners, okay? Next slide. So we have taken all this data, and we have developed a dashboard, what we are calling average discharge. We don't have time to go into the details, but this dashboard is showing us first how did we derive this data and how we validate it, and whom are we working with, and how this data can be used to derive various statistics for application on the ground. Next slide. So this is the key message. Discharge data is foundational for irrigation planning. Also, F observation and hydrological modeling are helping to bridge the critical data gap in Africa. We are also trying to help understand the seasonality to improve water use efficiency. If we know that next year there will be 10% reduction in stream flow, you are able to plan ahead. And then this is also helping us develop data-driven decisions that are scalable. My colleague showed you an example of dashboard. So this can really be used to tailor to your needs in the various basins or countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next presenter is online, and I want him up. Okay. If he's up, you can hear us. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, yes, I can.
Yeah, you have 5 minutes.
Okay. Hello, my name is Zolo. I'm a postdoc researcher. I'm based in South Africa. I'm from the Congo. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a machine learning approach that we developed for monitoring monthly irrigated areas in the Limpopo River Basin in the context of a digital twin. Next. These are the items that we are going to discuss in our presentation. Next, please. As I said that we conducted our research in the Limpopo River Basin. It's one of the largest transboundary river basins and water scarce regions in the Southern Africa. And some of its sub-basins are classified as very stressed. So we understood that we need to develop strategies for sustainably distributing water resources among all the stakeholders living in the basin. To develop such strategies, we need to monitor irrigated agriculture and water use. So that's exactly what we did in our research. So we tried to monitor monthly irrigated areas. We did in the Limpopo River Basin and the water use from 2019 to 2024. And that was part of a digital twin project that we are running in the region. Next. For those who do not know, a digital twin is like a digital replica of a system or an environment. And you can have digital twins for a farm, for a wetland, for a river basin. And then once you have that digital replica of your environment, you can test actually scenarios. And that really can improve decision making and strategic planning. Next. For our project, we use the TRJS platform for developing our digital twin. Next. So what you see is the location of the Limpopo River Basin. Most of our maps of irrigated areas were generated during the dry season. because it's when you water scarcity is the most pronounced. Next. This is the method that we use for mapping irrigated agriculture. So it's an automated, framework. To implement it, all you need it's Sentinel-2, a machine learning technique, and a crop mask. Next. This is how the machine learning framework, it was implemented. So you can see the process and the crop mask that was used. Next. And we discovered also using machine learning approach alone was not sufficient. So we had like a lot of false positives. So we implemented other techniques such as a time lag regression and a threshold that we developed from a slope data in order to remove those false positives. Next. Then to validate the result that we got from the output of our models, we went to the field to collect some institute data. Next. So then after validating our result, these are some of the results that we got. So the overall accuracy of one of the models was 80%, and the kappa coefficient 0.6. Next. This you can see what the model outputs, for some of the irrigation schemes. And then we derive also some statistics from the result that we got. You can even see during the COVID time, you can see how there was like a decrease in the spatial extent of irrigated agriculture. Next. These are some of the findings that we obtained from our study. So you can see, for instance, water is highly used in May and September. And the 2 months correspond to the beginning and end of the dry season. Next.
You have
and
one,
then once
can you hear me? You have one more
once
minute.
yes,
1 more minute.
yeah, once we produce all the maps, we operationalize the mapping process using AWS so that's at the end of every month we have like a map of irrigated area. So once we have the data, we store it in a S3 bucket and then index it using the Open Data Cube. Next. And once the data is indexed, it was visualized in the digital twin, as you can see. And then some of the script that we use, we develop, we put them in a repo, a GitHub repo. Next. So next, currently, the next step in our research, we are trying to downscale the WOPA dataset and integrate the Open Data Cube in our water copilots. And also we have a paper that is under review on the work that we have done. Next, the last one. So if you want to know more about the digital twin, these are some of the references. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have a last presentation. I have the privilege to welcome Dr. Niola.
Thank you. My presentation is going to be based on some of the 5 minutes. It's not going to be more than that. 3 classification of weather forecasting, because in irrigation and managing drainage and whatever you in agriculture, you need 3 basic forecasting time scale. You need the numerical time scale, you need the seasonal time scale, and you need the subseasonal to seasonal time scale. So I am going to be talking about this subseasonal to seasonal time scale and what is it that is useful for you. It is useful in so many ways for optimizing groundwater discharge, for adaptive smart irrigation system. Next, please. You have to be fast. Reservoir and so many things like that. Go ahead. Yeah, and in so many ways. So, but it is very important that you know the architecture of the structure of these S2S forecast. The S2S forecast has been proven to be the best forecasting range that you have within all these forecasting ranges, because it helps you to know the weather pattern 46 days or 30 days before they occur. And if you want to know it, if you want to use it, you have to evaluate it. And to evaluate it, you have to test for its performance, for its quality, in terms of its propensity, in terms of the association, in terms of the bias, in terms of the rock. How do you depend on the variability of that data? If that forecast tells you, please go ahead. That is why I need to do it by myself. It's different. So if that data tells you that you are going to have a reduced rainfall, will you really have a reduced rainfall? If it's going to have, you're going to have excess rainfall, will you have excess rainfall? And at what lead time? Because when we made forecasts for particular lead times, and we have to test at what lead time do I have confidence in my forecast time range. Please go ahead. A lot of methods, I've just told you this, all these ones. If you want to know more of how we get to do all these things, please, during the period of exchange of ideas, please ask me. And you need to know how to, how to do them in terms of regridding. I have talked about this when I was talking. Please go to the end of the yes, this is just talking about the synchronization and what have you. And please let me just summarize that testing this S2S forecast in 2020 and 2021 proved that farmers can depend on this forecast time scale for in so many ways and to do so many things. So thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you so much. I think you have spent 6 minutes. So that is by the way. Thank you so much. So initially, the idea is to have a breakout sessions where you can engage with representatives, but we are going to skip that part and we are going to go straight into the panel discussion. So I would like to invite my colleagues. Dr. Sanda, please can you sit here? Dr. Zolo Kiala, you are online. Can you please put your camera on? Dr. Afua Osu, please. Dr. Niola. Dr. Kiala, can you confirm that you are online? Is he online? Okay, great. Thank you. So this session is to have a discussion with the panelists, but also take some questions from the audience, right? Do we have a second mic? Okay. All right. So, okay. I would like to start with you, Dr. Sanda Zwart. I think we have seen your wonderful iPad that you have co-developed for Mali. So the question is, and I'm sure some of the members in the audience are wondering, how can we develop this for an irrigation scheme in Nigeria or somewhere else in Africa? So the question is, what kind of collaboration is needed to develop this kind of tool?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I think during my presentation I've already alluded on that. The tool as we have it now is we call it a shell, right? We call it iPad, but also our colleagues in Office du Niger, they said, no, we want our own name for this tool, and it's called IPON, Irrigation Performante Office du Niger. So we're working together with them. We have developed it, but we can use this tool to be deployed in other countries. We're very happy to do so. We've already started these collaborations. Some requests have come in from different countries, and we are collaborating with them in the framework of this larger project to bring this tool to them. So in terms of your question, what is needed, there's not so much needed. The tool is open access. We can provide the technical backstopping. We can provide the capacity development. It's really about sharing data and making it work. We can also adapt the tool. So it's there are now 11 performance indicators which specifically address the challenges and the questions that Office Niger had. But if there are other questions or you want to have different information on your scheme, you know, we can develop an indicator and adapt the tool and make it work. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. So do you see any business model associated with this tool, knowing that it's not only public schemes that are out there, there are also some private and commercial schemes?
Yeah, well, business model you can explain in two ways, of course. I mean, the client can be a commercial scheme, of course. Yeah. But IWMI, our mandate is to develop knowledge products, right? We are not there to operationalize the tools for you and keep on doing that. So we are working with a company, and they are very much interested in this kind of tool. They develop also different tools for the water sector. And they are very much interested in further developing this tool and then deploy it in different projects, maybe from the World Bank, from other banks, you know, to support the schemes to improve the irrigation performance. Mm-hmm. So there is definitely a business model, and again, it's open access. If there are here young professionals and they are like, wow, this is something I would like to do in the future, and I'm going to develop my business, we're happy to share, we're happy to train and help you develop that business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sanda. So, Dr. Zolo, I think I'll ask you the same question as what I asked Dr. Sanda. We know that digital twin has a really big potential, but also it requires a lot of knowledge. How are the partnerships being developed so that knowledge can be brought in digital twin?
Okay. Yeah, you can cut me short if I'm long in answering the question. So if I understand, you want to know the type of regional collaboration that I see, you know, to scale such prototypes to other basins, right?
Exactly.
Yes. So I think that collaboration, regional collaboration, can include river basin organizations because they are the ones that are mandated, you know, to manage water resources. So in our case, when we started, we've been like working with LINCOM. LINCOM is the organization which is in charge of managing water resources in the Limpopo River Basin. So to me, to upscale this prototype to other basins, you need first to engage with river basin organizations. And then also, you need also to engage with regional economic communities such as SADC, East Africa, African community, because they can help, you know, in facilitating the broader adoption of digital twins across multiple basins in Africa. So then also other types of collaborations that I see are the pan-African institutions, such as the African Union. So they can provide support, you know, political support for the adoption of digital twins for water management. So other institutions that I see also are research and academic institutions. So you have like international research institutions that are specialized in modeling, you know, hydrological modeling, AI. We can approach those research institutions, and they can provide cutting-edge methodologies and technologies. And also, last but not least, we have also the private sector. especially private companies. They have the expertise, so they can really, develop those platforms for building these digital twins. They have the expertise in AI and machine learning. So those people that can come on board. I think that there are some of the key. There are some of the key institutions that I think that can help upscale these prototypes to other basins.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Dr. Zolo, for explaining that. So the next question is to Dr. Efwa. We have seen your lovely tool, the SWAG tool. So with the SWAG tool offering a user-friendly decision support tools for water management with partners, as you explained, in Kenya, what type of framework is needed to scale up this kind of other African countries?
Okay, so I presented the WAD tool, which incorporates the SWAG tool. Oh, it is somehow. Okay, so I'll speak louder. We need to, I think I'll follow up from what Dr. Zolo was saying, that we need more partnerships. So IWMI has a lot of the technical skill, but we need a lot of partnerships. So we couldn't have built this WAD tool without the NIA. We do not have the local expertise, we do not have the local knowledge, and we cannot just build things in a vacuum. So it's a whole lot of partnerships, and there are different levels of partnerships. We need to work with government institutions like the NIA to co-create the tools to embed them in official decision making. We need to work with NGOs who are very good at piloting and scaling also, and also to adapt the tools. We have to work for the farmers. So we have built these tools with maps and graphs and all of that, but that is not what the farmers need. They need SMS notifications, they need radio alerts, things like that. So we need partners in NGOs and other development partners on the ground to help it get to the ground, to the farmers and the water user groups. We also need to work with, like what we are doing in Bontanga and Amibara, the irrigation schemes. It's really good to work at that level, and then we are able to look at how applicable, how useful really is this for irrigation scaling. So that's the sort of partnership and the framework we need to develop with, should I say again, local partners.
Thank you. Thank you for the explanation. Now, over to you, Dr. Niola. As a meteorologist, how do you see the weather service complementing Earth observation to, complement the information that we bring to the farmers?
Well, thank you. we all agree that weather and climate are very, very vital tools in agriculture, particularly in West Africa. But forecasting them is very, very complex. It is complex because of the complexity in the thermodynamics that constitute it. It's a known fact that there is climate change now. And climate change now is like putting these complex in weather pattern on steroids. So it's becoming more erratic and more difficult to predict. We cannot say that the meteorological services across West Africa are not doing what they should be doing. They are giving their information diagnostically and prognostically. But the question that we must ask ourselves, or we should ask ourselves, is what is the usability? To what degree can we use what they are giving us? For instance, let us take NIMET here for example. You have one data point, okay, over Abuja. That is not good enough to make any meaningful decision in irrigation or drilling system or in any agricultural aspect in Abuja. So the problem of data, sparsing of data and coarse data is what brings about this Earth observational problem. observational tools. And as we speak, there are Earth observation satellite data that can monitor precipitation, soil moisture, up to about 4-kilometer resolution. And it covers all. So you will ask me, then what is the big deal? The big deal is that some of the local farmers that are supposed to use this information are in remote areas, and the meteorological stations are not there. So this is like supplementing, they are complementing the effort of meteorological agencies. Not that the Earth observation will come and take over the ground truth. Ground truth will be ground truth for life. But they are complementary too. Not only that, they help us to correct the bias in model output, they are also useful in improving numerical weather prediction forecast in terms of data assimilation and nudging in numerical models. So how do we scale this up? Because 1 minute, because just this, we cannot put all our research on reference papers, on our journals. We need to take it to farmers, to people, the last mile community. But how do we do this? That is where the issue of collaboration comes in. We should collaborate in all areas of endeavors that connect metrology, water resources, in such that we would produce a co-product that will help the farmer, and how they will be translated for them to really understand it. And that is what.
So I have a last question for you.
Yes.
Very often when disasters strike, our farmers are the most impacted. But why is all the work, the good work that the meteorological service or the forecasters are doing is not getting to the farmers on time?
Yeah, that is very, very hard for me. And that is why I am telling you of this collaboration. That if, by the time I produce my forecast, there is somebody that will take it up immediately and transfer it immediately to the needed seamlessly without any hindrances. It's because we have too much of bottlenecks between the provisional forecasters and the end users that are farmers.
Thank you. Don't go yet. It's not done. Now we'll give the floor to our audience. First question from here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Niola. You did mention the model, especially for groundwater recharge in your days. How effective is it? Because in recent time, we've started seeing some recharge mechanism in the Chad Basin. The EOs that you have been monitoring, has there been any kind of collaboration in terms of this recharge, especially for difficult area like the Chad Formation? Thank you. Dr. Martin Edibe from Water Resources Institute, Kaduna.
Thank you. Please hold on.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Murray from the African Union Commission. I just want to ask 2 questions. I think somebody talked about irrigation performance assessment. I want to ask, your tool, is it amenable when you have intercrop? Because we are focusing on small farmers, we should not just look at large-scale farmers. So when you have intercropping, is your tool relevant? And the second question I have is general. I think I've asked IWMI this. We are still having, in the morning, Valerie reported that we are doing 4% irrigation in the continent. Some say we are doing 6%. But I know that we are doing more than that. Is there no way IWMI can help the continent, especially this farmer-led irrigation, this small irrigation, to actually estimate the hatchery so that we have a more representative value? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the floor. I am having a question for the presentation online. It said that all land with the slope more than 5% has been discarded in the computation. And then 5% of slope is very small compared to some countries myself, I come from Rwanda, where we have hills and then hills. And then those hills, we do irrigate on them. We call them hillside irrigation. And giving very good yield and then improvement in the food production. So that one, I would like to know the reason behind and why that much of land is being discarded.
Doctor, my own is a general question. You analyzed the key users are the farmers. Are they really carried along? If they are, what are the associations that are to be monitored for sustainable development? How can we transfer such knowledge and skills to them so that they are aware of their findings and they can utilize it? Thank you.
One more.
I said my own is a general question. It concerns all of you. The data that you get, our concern are the farmers who are basically the end users of the information. Are they involved in the collection and analysis? That's one. And if they are, how do we guarantee that they can use it correctly in terms of sustainability of water resource management strategies? Thank you.
I think we have too many questions, so let's have 2 rounds. We will try to respond to this first set of questions. Yes.
Okay, sir, your question is well taken. First, I must say that my area of expertise is not in hydrological models. However, I link the hydrological model from the atmospheric model. And I know that most of the hydrological modelers that we have may not know the importance or how to access these Earth observational tools that are available. For instance, do you know if you have TAMSAT? There is what we call TAMSAT that monitor rainfall at 5-kilometer resolution. There is what we call GPM-IMAG. The link is that, oh, I know this model, but I depend solely on conventional usage. The question is, have you searched forward to know that, okay, I can't also use these, I can also access these Earth observation tools that are outside there and are easy to use. So that is where I come in. And even at that, you are only knowing the diagnostic of the tools. Do you know the prognostic of the tools? That is in terms of forecasting. And if you want to know the times of forecasting, do you know the time scale that you are looking for and how to get it? And with that, there would be a seamless collaboration between us and the hydrologists that want to know the discharge.
Yeah, there was a question on the intercropping. The tool, as it is, focused on remote sensing data. So we can analyze different crops. So we have a classification of, in this case, rice and sugarcane. If there's a scheme which has different crops, you know, we make that classification, and then we say, well, these farmers, they have, I don't know, sorghum, there they cultivate maize, and there they irrigate sweet potato, and something to say. The typical intercropping is very difficult to distinguish, so it really does not target that. But what it does, it gives an overview of the scheme. So the tool is not necessarily meant, and that also relates to the other question on the users of these data. Our tool really focuses on scheme managers, that want to know what is happening in one tertiary unit. So not specifically on one field. So it's not a farmer that is going to use this tool, but it's scheme managers that are going to use this tool. In terms of, and I think in general about the data collection and where the farmers are involved, I can speak for myself, and in my case that is not the case. We work with Office in Niger. They have their data collection strategies, and that is what we use. But maybe you can add something to that, or.
Yes, there was a time when we had this project, we call it African Swift, where we forecast rainfall onsets every 2 weeks for every 40 days. Then we expect that the farmers and all the users will give us a feedback. But we are not getting feedback. If we are not getting feedback and we keep asking you, how is it performing? How is it performing? What can we do? And you are not responding, it means that something is wrong there. What is wrong is the expertise. Are the farmers or the agricultural institution have enough expertise to work with people who are giving you the data to say, no, I don't want this. Can you make it like this? Can you make it like this? Can you make it like this? That is what we call co-production. And that co-production is what is really, really lacking. And that is not, we are not getting between the forecasters and the users.
Hello. So there was also a question on irrigation area, the estimation of that. I'm very happy when people ask me that, because the number that's thrown around is usually the 5%, 6% of irrigated area. And that may have been true in terms of formal irrigation, because I think it was based on numbers that are reported to FAO by governments, right? I'm putting you in the spot. But okay. And it's counted as new. Okay. Yeah. Yes, and I can attest from even Ghana, you go and ask GIDA, the Irrigation Development Authority, and they can't give you an actual estimate of how much area is irrigated. Well, we did a study, and I presented the application of it in the Kenya case, where we are able to use how much evaporation is happening compared to how much rainfall is happening. And this is a framework, the Budaiko framework is from the 1970s, and it actually is a curve. I'm very happy to go into detail and show you the science of it, where generally you'll find that areas fall right on that curve. And when there's a deviation, it shows you that there's extra water that's been applied. So based on that, we did a study all over Africa. So there are a number of steps that go before you do the Budaiko calculation. And you'll find that actually what we estimated is 19% of cropland areas are actually irrigated. So this was capturing all the areas which are informal. So, but the issue is the cropland data that we have. So when we applied it, we had to come up with what we call a high confidence cropland map, where we are putting together a number of cropland products. We checked with two different ways, in situ data from, was it Equitas? Yes. On places which are cropland areas. And then we came up with a high confidence cropland map, and then we applied the Budaiko framework, and then we're able to identify the irrigated areas. But when you take other cropland products, and there are many of them, we took just about 8, and the percentage of irrigated area was ranging up to 30%. So first, we need the underlying basis, identifying cropland areas. If we are able to do that, I believe this framework is easily applicable. So for the Chef area, the Central Highlands area in Kenya, we got a very detailed 10-meter cropland map, and that was like a goal to me. And we are able to very confidently tell you this area is irrigated, this area is not. And it's very clear because if there's extra water evaporating far more than precipitation that occurred, then it's coming from somewhere else.
Thank you. Because of time, we will take 3 more questions and then we'll close this session.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I have 3 questions here. They are short questions. The first one is, what's the way forward in using hydrological models in data scarce region? Prof described earlier that even here in Abuja, you only have 1 station to cover for the whole area. In my own area also, Ilorin is the major area covering or your state, or a good number of your Osun State, nothing in Ogbomoso, regardless of all the institutions around. So what's way forward in using hydrological models in data scarce region? That's my first question. My second question is earthly observation satellites. At times they have different resolutions for different areas. That in areas of interest they use high resolution. In Africa and other regions they use resolution that cannot really provide you what you need. I'm working on the watershed around Ogbomoso, and I look at a major dam there. I couldn't even find a single water around a major dam. No point reference to that. So how usable is early observation data in actually modeling using hydrological models? That's the one question. The last question is on IWMI. Can it be calibrated for conditions outside the area of development? I don't know, I've not read much about it, but can we use this outside? Have it been validated for sanity and other tests, outside the area where it was developed? Thank you. I hope I'm clear on all my 3 questions.
Any other question from the audience? No. Okay, thank you. So I'll take part of the question. So hydrological model in data scarce regions is a real challenge. I think it's one of the wicked problems in the water space, right? You don't have measurement. Still, you need information to take action. How do you do? So that is where the hydrological models comes in. And I presented part of the work we are doing. So the question now is, how do we validate, knowing that you don't have information to compare with? And that is where you develop strategies, comparing several models to see which one is close to. And one other ways that IWMI and I'm sure some other partners use this is to use citizen science, really going to the ground and ask ordinary people with a list of indicators. What do they know about these indicators? Are they giving the pattern that your model is giving you, yes or no? And that will help you to go back and fine-tune your model. So there are different ways of really trying to mimic the natural system using hydrological model when there is no other observation. So comparing several models, asking people on the ground, citizen science, and trying to do some sort of validation using observation, remote sensing data. Oh, great.
Sorry, if I may know, what kind of data are you talking about? Rainfall data? It's okay. Rainfall data and soil mass. You can go to TAMSAT, and do you know what TAMSAT is? Okay, this is the TAM is produced at University of Reading. When you get there, they have soil moisture and rainfall at 4-kilometer resolution. There's nowhere in that area that you won't get precipitation data. Even if you go and search for GPM IMAG is a 10-kilometer by 10-kilometer resolution rainfall satellite data. Yes. Mm. No. It is not their area of interest. It's global. It is your area of interest that you will say. What they are producing is global. What TAMSAT is producing, that is why its own resolution is higher, is over Africa. The GPM IMAG is producing all over the world, And FewNet is another one that is at 4-kilometer resolution. And you can do all these things if you have this, your hydrological model will work very well.
Thank you very much. So, yes, so we are stopping the session here, but before we close, I would like to give the floor to Dr. Olufunke for the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. Let's clap for our panelists. You can just move. Thank you, thank you. Let's clap for them. Clap for yourself as well. Thank you for staying on with us. We are going to transition to the next and last session for today. I told earlier on that we have 2 consecutive sessions. So we have been listening to something on digital innovation. And thank you to my colleague who stay on with us online. Thank you. Let's clap for him. So thank you very much. Now we've been talking about water, and we hardly talk about crop. We are going to the next session where we're going to be looking at irrigation and water management as key enabler of value chain technologies in Africa's agricultural transformation. So this session, are you with me? Hello? May I have your attention, please? Please, please, I know we've had a long day, but let's keep on. This is the last session. So this session is based on the work that we have been doing with the support from the African Development Bank. You probably have heard about the Feed Africa initiative. Central to that Feed Africa initiative is a program on the what we call TAT, which is Technologies for African Agricultural Transformation. So this TAT program is actually led by IITA on behalf of the CGIR. Like I mentioned earlier, our DG mentioned in the earlier session, IWMI is the water center for the CGIR. We are sister institute with IITA. So in this session, we are going to start with, there are 3 sides to it. In the first part of it, we're going to look at some of the activities that we have done in the context of TAT. In the second part of it, we're going to launch some training materials that we have developed in the frame of TAT. And in the third part of it, we're going to announce our strategy for Nigeria, IWMI strategy in Nigeria. Are you with me? So, thank you. So to start with, I'm going to invite Madam Beatrice. Hold on. The clearinghouse is online? Is with? Ah, okay. Thank you very much. So we are going to listen to a presentation, an opening remark about TAT, what TAT is about. And it's going to be an online presentation by the TAT Clearinghouse, represented by Dr. Asiedu. Dr. Asiedu, can you hear me? Please, can you ask him to come on? Okay, please, you can speak. We can't hear you. So the TAT Clearinghouse is somewhere in Kunu at the IITA station, and it's a special model that had been set up by the TAT program to help scale technologies in agriculture all over Africa. So the water component is just one, which is led by IWMI, but is made up of many other crop value chains, crop and animal value chains that we want them to list to explain to us. Is anything going? Is it okay with? Is it okay with Dr. Asedu? Otherwise, can we move on to the next? Okay. Doctor, okay, can you please come by? We will move on to the next presentation while we are waiting for him. Anytime he comes on, we can take his presentation. So we will now go into a presentation on water in agricultural value chain, an overview presentation of the lessons we have learned in 12 sub-Saharan Africa countries working on agricultural water. Thank you very much. It will be given by my colleague, Dr. Adebayo Oke, who is an irrigation engineer working for the International Water Management Institute.
All right, thank you. I'm sure some people are wondering whether we are always in the air. We are not always in the air. We try to connect the air, the climate, the weather, and we solve real problem on the ground. And this is one of activities in the last few years, working with the African Development Bank and a couple of other sister institutions. Can we go on? It's about technology for African agricultural transformation. Please, can we move on? Okay. Please, move on. Yeah. My DJ has done justice to all of this in the morning, so I won't repeat it. Yeah. We have this key problem that we are facing, and we are trying to use key leverages to address them. Please move on. Okay, so technology for African agricultural transformation has what we call the compact and the enablers. The compact are key institutions that address specific commodities, and the enablers are supporters, as it were. And these are enablers: the water, soil fertility, policy, fall arm, armyworm, capacity development, and youth. And we know how central water is to crop production. Next. In the phase one of TAT activities between 2018 and 2020, we were involved in 7 African countries, and we addressed 5 major value chain crops: wheat, rice, orange flesh, sweet potato, sorghum, and millet, and maize. And we worked in West, East, and Southern Africa. Can we move on? Okay, so these are objectives, especially TAT focuses on scaling proven technologies, and in our own case, proven irrigation technologies. We work to create enabling environment. We were deeply involved in capacity development of extension agent and youth service providers. Yes. Okay, let me take us a little into some of our interventions. What you are seeing there is, and I'm happy Professor Igbadun is here. We work together closely. It's one of our work. This is a wheat field somewhere in Alkamawa in Kano. I will show us some of the outcome of all this intervention. Can we move on? Okay, so these are list of affordable and efficient TAT work solutions, practical feed-based interventions that we have explored in different countries, from river water pumping, and we are transiting to solar-based pumps for shallow groundwater, for surface water, or possibility of closed conveyance system. We know the challenge of evaporation that's characterized open channels. Explore closed pipe system. That's what we showed just a few seconds ago. In terms of irrigation water application, we worked on how to improve basin and furrow irrigation, which are still essential component of our production system even now. Sprinkler irrigation system, rain tube, and harness of different sprinkler systems at the micro and smallholder level. We also use what we call irrigation scheduling water saving techniques, wetting front and chameleon sensors. These are tools that enables farmers to know exactly when to irrigate and what quantity of water to apply. And of course, in terms of water conservation, check dams and small reservoir management. Can you go? Okay, so for those who may be wondering what those tools are, I think they are very common, but these are pictorial, pictures of this stuff. Solar pumps, and we have the check dam there. Down, we are able to manage small rivers in such a way that we can raise the head and use it better for crop production. Closed pipe system, raised bed, alternating wetting and drying system for scheduling in rice, rain tube, and drip irrigation. These are Harris, and of course there are many more, but these are technologies that we have scaled in different parts of Africa. Can we move on? Okay, just a quick example in terms of water enabler support in rice production. This is part of the TAT activities in Nigeria, Mali, and Burkina Faso, and these are technologies that we explored. This led to expansion of cultivated areas, off-season production, and of course some kind of intensification. Can we move on? Okay, so in terms of participatory demonstration, which we had with farmers in 3 countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Nigeria, both in Akamawa and in Nasarawa, we could see that the sub-Saharan Africa average rice production is around 2 tons per hectare, even as we speak. And of course, we know the challenge we're facing with importation of rice product across Africa. But the fact is, if we explore some of these very simple technology efficiently implemented with good agricultural practices, we have potential of reaching even up to 8 tons per hectare of rice. We see 5 tons in Bama, Akamawa we see 7, 8. This is farmer practiced. This is not what we science implemented. This is what the farmers were able to do, working together. Can we go on? And of course, I'm not showing the impact of the water productivities, how much water we are able to save and how much yield we are able to that goes with the water that we save. Of course, again, we have this example in wheat. We're able to manage water using closed conveyance system. Somebody may ask about whether this is not complex. The fact is, a farmer can use this again and again, and that's experience we have in Akamawa. As we speak now, some farmers are still using this system since 2018 when we implemented it. So the impact is enormous. We have over 60% increase in yield in Ethiopia and in Sudan. Those pictures, this is from Ethiopia, the other one is from Sudan. And up there are pictures from Nigeria. Can we move on? Okay, so these are yield and the productivity we got from Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Sudan. Average sub-Saharan Africa is 1.9, 2 depending, but we got up to 4, 5, and even more across different places. But this is with good agricultural practices and good feed water management. Can we move on? In terms of sorghum and sorghum production, this data is from Mali, Burkina, and Nigeria as part of the TAT activities. We're able to get up to 4.5 tons in Mali, and of course, even Nigeria, we got up to 3 tons. And this is areas where average yield is about 1 tons per hectare. And this is how we, when we implemented Thai Ridge, contour farming, and Sai, in these places. Can we move on? Currently, under TAT2, we are focusing largely on how to improve rice production. And focus essentially is around water management and good agricultural practices. Can we move on? Now, as part of what we are promoting now is what we call alternate wetting and drying AWD. AWD is not completely new. It's been around for a while. But we found out that with AWD, we can save up to 25 to 30% of irrigation water. And that's huge. If you imagine a scheme of maybe 1 million 1 million cubic meter, 1 MCM, and you save 25%, that's about 250,000 cubic meter of water. Now imagine, what that means and how much area that could also be put under production. So we find this very effective, and across a number of countries under this STAT2, we are promoting it in Cote d'Ivoire, in Ghana, and in Cameroon. I will hand over to my colleague, and the DCR is the one pushing the slide. So Dr. Beanu will give us a use case, an example from Ghana about how efficient AWD is and some of our experiences. Yeah.
Thank you, Bayo. Okay, thank you very much. My name is Berhanu. So with the AWD, we wanted to continue working on it through modeling and also to see the impact of climate change in the future. So as it was mentioned from the DG's presentation in the morning, this is one of the effective technology that have been promoted by different projects, and also we tested it in Ghana in different agroecologies. The next step is to see how it is scalable in terms of evidence, and also how it is responding to the impact of climate change. Next slide. So what we did actually is we selected 2 agroecologies in Ghana, the Botanga region and the Bronicrom region. These are 2 different agroecologies with distinct characteristics in terms of hydrology, in terms of land use, in terms of farming system practices. So once the model is calibrated or validated in these regions, then it is ready for application. So we selected some scenarios like continuous flooding, which is a farmer's practice. Normally it is called farmer's practice. And then the AWD, which is application of water when the water level in the farm field is lower than a certain depth. So for that, 15 millimeter was selected, which is below the root zone. So in these 2 different regions, upper Ghana and mid area of Ghana, these are the results of the model calibration and validation. We used the FAO promoted model called aquacrop model. And as you see here, there is no significant reduction in terms of grain yield, which is very important for farmers. At the same time, we evaluated the other parameter, which is like the labor usage and the nutrient use efficiencies, which is also very good. So this is the first result that we obtained. And we also evaluated the water productivity, like the water saving is between 29 to 35%. This is like a 2-year experiment in different areas for different replications. And there is an increment in water productivity from 50 to 53%. Next. Next slide. Yeah, so this is the model parameterization result. As you see here, this is just in one of the area, the observed data and the simulated data. The observed data is the data that we collected using the citizen science method by training farmers. And the simulated one is from the aquacrop modeling. So the conventional flooding, which is usually called the farmer's practice, is on the left side. On the right side is the AWD, the alternate wetting and the drying technique that farmers are being trained. Next. Yeah, so to look at the impact of climate change, we used different scenarios of the climate models. When you look at the left side of the data, is under rain-fed system. As you see, there is some reduction of yield over the years, like the near future and the far future. There is this reduction of rice yield by 28% and continuously by 79%. Whereas when you use irrigation, and for that matter, the technique that uses water optimization, there is an increment in yield. And this result somehow is an indicative. It's a work which is ongoing. We have not yet finalized it. Still we are working on it, but it's an indicative that in the future, rain-fed system is not an option for the African farming system, especially when we are talking about rice. This is a model for rice. If we use the AWD, for example, there is a probability or a high possibility of increasing the yield from 9 to 12% in the near future, and also 5 to 9% in far future. So this indicates that irrigation, which we are talking about the whole day, is an option. It's not an option, it's like a must, a necessity to continue with. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, so this is about the capacity building, which.
Yeah, thank you. So this one of the very strong area of competence of IWMI, and a lot have been said about collaborations. Some of these technologies, they look simple, but they have to be applied rightly. And to apply them rightly, there's need for capacity building, training. And in the course of our activities, we have found out that we also need to train extension workers. There's a place of training, what we call irrigation agronomists, irrigation extension workers in Africa. These are a couple of field-based training that we've done. That's in Malawi, and a couple of other places. Yeah, next. So what are the lessons we have learned? We must be ready to bundle good agricultural practices with irrigation. Irrigation is not a standalone type of intervention. It must be bundled with good agricultural practice. We have to create an enabling environment to enable more farmers to access and acquire appropriate tools. Capacity building, we cannot overemphasize it. We have to begin to look at landscape approach. We don't have to just solve a problem at one unit. We have to have a bigger picture of our landscapes as we approach issue of irrigation. Private sector engagement is crucial to scaling, and that's a lot of what IWMI is now promoting, knowing that we really cannot reach everybody, but private sector have the network, they have the competence, and they have the resources. Models that, in terms of financing, localized financial models have to be explored, and a couple of other. We should not forget gender inclusivity. Yes, and as across a couple of years, we've been able to develop some irrigation materials, some very simple, illustrative, educative materials that will help in training both farmers and extension workers. I guess today we're going to be presenting this publicly, but beyond the hard copies, you have access to it via that QR code. That's where we are now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bayo. I know you have questions, but before we ask you to ask your questions, or before we ask you some questions, I hope before we have some questions via Menti, right? Yeah. But before that, we want to take another use case. We've just listened to my colleague Bihanu talking about a use case in Ghana. But we would like to show you also that we have another use case in Egypt, from Egypt, North Africa. We don't have many North African presentations here, which we would like to share with you. And it's about leveraging market-based development approaches in introducing innovative irrigation practices and technologies. Lessons from North Africa. As you know, IWMI will cover many countries in Africa and Asia. So I'd like to call my colleague, Dr. Makram Fraj. Can you come forward to make your presentation? Let's clap for him. He is coming all the way from North Africa. I hope there's no problem with your slides. Oh, okay. I think you will manage. 10 minutes.
Okay. 10 minutes. I have 5 minutes more. Okay. So here I want to guide you through an exercise of designing interventions using a market system development approach. And this is an application of helping introducing water innovation technologies, specifically solar-powered irrigation systems and modern irrigation systems, through the facilitation of the market. And was a technical assistance that IWMI provided to the Ministry of Land Reclamation and Agriculture of the Egyptian government. Next slide, please. This is not my presentation. No, this is not my presentation. This is the first one of not my presentation. No.
Okay. While we are waiting for that, do you think you can handle the questions? Oh, okay. Meanwhile, does anyone have any questions based on the presentation of Bayo? We can start harvesting your questions, so we'll find some time to respond. Just give us some minutes to sort out the technical issues. Any question from anyone? I hope we didn't confuse you. We have overwhelmed you. Okay. Okay, no question? Yeah? So we have to wait for the computer to cooperate with us. Just give us 1 minute. Can we use the one you submitted before? Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so in this work, IWMI provided technical assistance to the Ministry of Agriculture and Land Reclamation of the government of Egypt, and this was funded by the GIZ. The objective is that we needed to promote in a sustainable way water innovation technologies, building on our experience in previous, not research for development project, but fully development projects with USAID and Mercy Corps in Jordan, through 2 projects, which are the Water Innovation Technology Project and the Water Efficiency and Conservation over an area of 20,000 hectares at the time. And next slide, please. We wanted to switch from direct implementation, that is one shot where we use donor money without having another chance to scale. We wanted to have the exercise there, looking to the market supply and demand, and the supply itself as a solution, a turnkey solution. We know problems of maintenance, problems of the outdated equipment, and we wanted to provide farmers with turnkey solutions, an assemblage of a solar-powered irrigation system that is adapted for this. So we look to what will be the demand side. So the question is to have an individual farmer or formalized group of farmers, formalized groups. We need to assess the financial sector in terms of access to finance, to assess the agricultural market. The government of Egypt, NAR's current strategy, to assess what is existing as technology in terms of hardware in the market, knowing that in Egypt the market is dominated by China, Germany, and India at plus 60%, and the Egyptians do not manufacture inverters for solar power. We look at sustainable infrastructure, because we know that when we want to implement technologies, we generally rely on the peer-to-peer effect. So we generally need meeting rooms, marketplaces, farmer spaces where the community can gather. Also infrastructure for partial processing of harvested products that allow you to cope with price volatility. We look at the technical advisory service providing systems, whether for the private sector or the public sector, the existing financial products, and we assess the market isolation and linkages of these farmers. And of course, the design of the solution have 4 components generally: an innovative cropping system with all parameters of adaptability to the local agroecological zone, and also under projection of climate change. What are the components of the sustainable infrastructure? And if I offer to a farmer a pilot, it will be not a pilot, but a site for demonstration, and in counterpart, we benefit from their infrastructure to provide as gathering the communities as a marketplace or market space. And then we look at to the couple access to market and access to finance. Next slide, please. And here is the pros and cons of for each market. I removed animation. It's crowded, but we can go through it step by step. For farmers, we cannot work with individual farmers. The holdings in Egypt are below half an hectare. Those technologies cost for solar-powered irrigation system about $20,000 per hectare, 19,500. This is twice of the global market. This is not affordable. This is not context appropriate for smallholders. So we need to aggregate farmers and replace the water user associations that are not functional at 70% in Egypt by the ministry agreeing on formalizing farming groups. Farmers groups will gather together their land unit, and the irrigation system will be operated as an irrigation scheme, but very small scale. And I will show you a visual on this. Farmers' characteristics are very low livelihood and food security because they abandoned livestock that is the treasury of the farm. They are losing their added value and losing also their bargaining power. They suffer from crop failure and seasonality, and this is why banks are not the first access to finance point, because their system of client acquisition is vertical. So they look to large agribusinesses, not to smallholder farmers, and we need to cope of this, and they require QIC, whether if, for example, if they lend money to suppliers of hardware, they will require QIC for the supplier and another QIC for their clients. It's impossible then. Collaterals is impossible, and I will return to that because of the impossibility of the formality on the market in terms of paperwork. To have, for example, a title deed for a land, it's very hard. Then we need to look to existing the horizontal expansion for the access to finance, which is the donor subsidized implementation. But for these ones, it should be to be direct implementation. So paying the supplier for the equipment to revolving loans. For example, which yields higher economic benefit. There are MFIs in Egypt, and I put in black examples of them that even deliver to the farmers credit cards, digital instruments to manage their loan. AXA Insurance also works on the insurance gap in the system. If you look to the agricultural market, most of the transactions in the agricultural market are based on trust, and they are verbal and formal. They are not written, and they are between farmers and what we call farmer aggregators. Aggregators do not lend money. They give in counterpart inputs like seeds and fertilizers, but put in an interest rate that is not called an interest rate, that is hidden behind the price of return. So the price of the harvested products. So the price hides their costs and the risk and the delinquency. And in this system, all the production system of the farm is not oriented for the food security of the country or for cash crops that are benefit beneficial for the farmers or for crops that enable some in situ local food security, but for niche market, for example, for export of artichoke.
2 minutes.
If you look, 2 minutes. If you look to the government, okay, there is a strategy for staple food production, but private sector is more active in terms of providing alternative cropping systems. And there are many points, including for hydroponics, because we look at hydroponic as a business module that is good for young people and for women. For the existing hardware, so we analyze all what is existing in technical terms, and for the sustainable infrastructure, we look to infrastructure that are not needing permission for construction, because permission for construction in Egypt in agricultural land is very hard. So all what is nature-based solution type of construction, compressed blocks, etc. For the technical advisory services, of course, the CGR provides you with the germplasm with adaptability for the various conditions of genotype, environment, interaction. However, all the intercropping, the cultivar mixture, and the specialty crops are provided by the private sector. And we focus also on poultry, which is that add versatility system as chicken proteins as a source for food security for farming families. Next slide. Next slide, please.
Next slide is on.
Okay. So this is the an example of visual of a modular farm where we have the staple field crops. You have the grass fields. For livestock production, you have the infrastructure with it, the market garden for women and youth, both the irrigation system network, both with the geotextile reservoir, and pumping directly from Muscat need to be replaced in Egypt by geotextile reservoir. The wet room for the irrigation and fertigation and filtration, and the dry room for the electrical system. Next slide.
Is that the last slide?
I have 1 minute and to finish.
Okay.
Okay. So so this is the layout design that was produced by the Ministry of Agriculture, and our role is to check on all spare parts in terms of maintenance, also the branding of the material, the cost for the farmer, and we check everything, including for the filtration system. Next slide, please, and the last one. And here is a summary of the economics of investment. So we look at the farming typology. Here we selected 4 typologies: the cereal growers, the second column is for the livestock integrators. Then you have the market gardens, which are the business for women and youth. And then the last column is the commercial orchard-based production system, and there are criteria for the selection for those crops which are related to the market expansion, including the export of rice, etc., for Egypt. And here are the figures in terms of cost, and then return, ROI, return on investment. So you see that the system is not affordable for cereal growers. If it requires 70% subsidies, the return period is 6 years. Those type of farming system does not cannot support any interest. If you look at the livestock integrators, you see a return on investment that is higher, and then it requires also subsidies. So unfortunately, it's the water-intensive systems that are the most profitable, with no subsidies for the orchard-based systems, and all of this is because of the annual return that is high for those crops. So if we customize the system for farmers, we need to think about all these factors, and we submitted this to the Ministry of Agriculture and that are negotiating with GIZ on scaling on the third point of demonstration in Kafr Sheikh actually. And the result of all of this is to go through a market system development project of development, a large one, that can accommodate this farming typology. And of course, the farming systems here, the design of the irrigation system and the solar panel is done, customized system by it includes also the sustainable infrastructure. Sorry, I took more than
Okay, thank you very much. Let's clap for him, Makram. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Market-based approach. That's what we need. That's where we need to go. So at this point, thank you once again for staying on with us. We're going to move to the last bit of the last part of this session. And for this last session, I would like to invite 3 people to come and sit with me here. First of all, I would like to invite Engineer Ike Musa, who is a former Vice President of ICID. He was also the former Director for Irrigation and Drainage, Federal Ministry of Water Resources, and also is a patron of Nigeria Commission on Irrigation and Drainage. Engineer Ike Musa, please come and sit here. Thank you, welcome. Today, like I said at the beginning, that we are privileged to have, I would like to have the third slide here, please, because this is the third session. And we are supported by the African Development Bank. We have a representative of African Development Bank here. I want him to see that we are talking about that, not DIWASA. So the Director General of African Development Bank for Nigeria has sent a delegation, so it's representative to us because he wanted to be here, but for one reason or the other, he's not able to come. So it's my privilege to ask Engineer Tabi Karikari to come and sit here. You can sit here with me. Please clap for him. Tabi is a Chief Agro-Industry Officer and Irrigation Engineer himself. I remember many years ago when we started talking about irrigation in Ghana. And so happy to see you with us here tonight. Thank you very much. And I'd like to have my DG also to join. Mark, please, can you sit there? Please clap. Clap for my DG, all the way from Sri Lanka. It's very far to reach this place. Okay, so this session, we are going to launch some training materials that we have prepared together with our partners in the frame of the TART project. But before we do that, I would like Engineer Musa to give a short overview. He's the patron of irrigation in Nigeria, and we are privileged to have him in our session. Please, let's clap for him again. He's going to give a short overview. We have presented the materials to him, and he's going to give a short overview of this material that we're going to launch today. So, thank you.
Well, I'm just seeing these documents here, but I've listened to all the presentation of some of the work they have done, and I've gone also online to try and understand what they have done, and I can categorically say they did a lot of painstaking work, and I'm impressed. There are, however, 1 or 2 areas which, because I like always to troubleshoot, that's the only way you keep these researchers on their toes. And that is using my experience sometimes to bring to bear on research. And I will tell you one interesting story because I think it will help us. We've had a long day and we need to see what we can do to relax a bit. A Fulani man was worried his family were always getting sick from malaria. So he went to health educator, and the man was happy. Yeah, no, you don't have problem. All you need to do is buy a mosquito net, and you will be free of all this malaria. Now, in Hausa, when they say mosquito net, it says gidan sauro, meaning house of mosquitoes. And they didn't elaborate more. So he bought the mosquito net and went and put it. And so in the night, the mosquitoes were still. He told them, look, that's the house I built for you. And you are still coming to me. So you can give somebody a beautiful solution. If he doesn't understand how to use it, it is still useless. So I'm happy they have built in a capacity building because it is very necessary. But like I said earlier in the opening session, please, let's have political will. Let's make sure we cut that early. IWMI did a wonderful job for us on CREEP. That was the first contact we were having with IWMI to introduce participatory irrigation management. When they finished their work, because somehow along the line we forgot the politicians as a key stakeholders. Every work they did, the beautiful work, was derailed in no time. We had all our water users, the farmers formed in water user association. They were willing to help with cleaning their canals and the rest. One day, one of the politicians, a member of House of Rep, was on recess. As he went to the field, and the farmers were proud to tell him they are working to clean their canal. He told them, no, don't do that. We've given them enough money to do that. So they stopped. And before we could undo that simple, you see, simple statement, which he was more concerned about quick win political gains. He wanted to gratiate himself with his electorate, that he is doing a lot for them. It took us a long time, and we now had to use very hard method to send the message. Otherwise, that season we will have lost everything. But after that, we never gained the kind of full support we had earlier on. I'm giving all these things because I think it's important we understand the necessity when we are doing wonderful work like this. And as I was just saying in the morning also, after the opening ceremony, how many of the politicians did you see around? But they take the decision that is crucial in the long run. All the work we do, if they don't fund it, the implementation does it. So please, that's one assignment you may have to do. Subtly let them know that all you can do is to get things that will change, but they need to support its implementation fully. And to do that, they must understand the system, but they won't sit to understand it. That's where the problem comes. And finally, I think I like, because Professor Igbadun has been keeping us informed of some of his involvement on the some of the experiment you've been doing on the rice here. Now, I remember I asked him one time, how do you build in the cost of insecurity and vandalization? Because if you put solar panel and leave it in the farm, you won't get it tomorrow. So it means you have to pack it, take it home, and come back another day and start setting it up. It has a lot of cost in time and in the cost of transportation up and down, which may reduce also profitability. Now, finally, I think whatever we do, I want us to always bear in mind that agriculture is not a hobby. Unfortunately, because of the long period of military intervention we had in Nigeria, the military thought agriculture is a hobby. And that's why you find almost all our generals have farms, and none of them is operating. Once they leave office, a year or two later, it's grounded. Because they channel government funds to keep it going. And once they are not there, it stops and the whole thing grounds. So we must ensure that any technology we're advancing must be very profitable for the farmer. Like we say, popular saying in Africa, success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan. Failure is an orphan. Nobody wants to be associated with failure. So we must make, whoever we are doing, let's make sure that it is something that a person who, if he gets into it, it will be profitable. And I want to thank IWMI. Please see me as your friend, and any day, call on me, I will be very supportive. But we must also tell you the pitfalls so that you are aware of them. And thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks, thanks. Let's do that again. Let's do that again for him. So I'll now invite Engineer Tabi Karikari, who is the Chief Agro-Industry Officer at AFDB, representing the DG of AFDB Nigeria, to make few remarks and help us launch this book. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kofi. I'm here on behalf of the Director General of African Development Bank. His name is Abdul Kamara, Dr. Abdul Kamara. He would have wanted to be here himself, but as at the time that we were to do this, he was still in Lagos. He just came in and then he's here to get here, so he has asked me to do this on his behalf. I was excited and secretly wishing that he would ask me to do it because I have got a long relationship with IWMI from my study days in VAC and again up to the time I worked with Madam in Ghana up till now. So it was a familiar turf, and I came and I've seen something that I've been missing. I enjoyed the presentation that our friend gave. African Development Bank, as we all know, for the past 10 years have been operating with a strategy, a 10-year strategy that has been looking at inclusive growth and green growth. And this strategy has guided the bank's investment in various countries in Africa. In 2015, to bring into sharper focus areas that would bring the growth that was aspired in Africa, the bank prioritized 5 areas. And one of the 5 areas was Feed Africa. So Feed Africa is one of the high 5 prioritized areas in the bank. And what we set out to do was that we want to reduce the food imports into Africa, which at the time was around $35 billion, to 0. And Africa eventually became a net exporter of food. So to do this, we had a Feed Africa strategy, which looked, among other things, at productivity enhancing technologies. We needed to enhance the productivity of various staples that we produce here in Africa and consume here in Africa. And that is how come we came about the TATS, the Technologies for Africa agricultural transformation. So that was an innovation of the bank targeted at enhancing the productivity of some 15 commodities through establishment of compacts with some institutions, institutions like Africa Rice, among others. And then we also had 6 enablers. And the 6 enablers also had compacts that were established with various institutions, including IWMI for water, irrigation and water management. Now, that has chalked quite some successes. We talk about the wheat revolution in Ethiopia now. Ethiopia is now an exporter of wheat. Sudan was also picking up until some challenges were there. And Nigeria also has started. Nigeria is moving very fast in production of heat-tolerant wheat varieties. We have had the drought-tolerant maize varieties that have been also promoted elsewhere. And then we have got cassava technologies that have been promoted. I don't want to bore you with all that TAT has done. But TAT has done quite a lot in various commodities. And one of the things that I believe that is led for us to be able to get closer to where we want to get to is irrigation. There is need for us to be able to develop our irrigation systems such that it will be user-friendly by our least sophisticated farmers, and then they will be able to derive the needed productivity. Why this is important, at least in my experience in Nigeria, I came to Nigeria in 2021. 2022, we had flooding situations in the rainy season. About 750,000 hectares of agricultural fields were lost. And 2024 too, we had flooding situations. 2024 is even more interesting because apart from the flooding situation we also had a long dry spell during the cropping season. So yields were obviously affected. Harvested area were reduced, which means that what was done when our bank president, Dr. Adesina, was the Minister for Agriculture in Nigeria, when a similar occurrence happened in the country, in I think 2012, 2013, was to look at production in the dry season. So he actually promoted dry season production during that period aggressively. Nigeria has got very, very interesting hydrogeology in many of the areas where you can harvest groundwater from shallow aquifers, and has got a good hydrology also where we can have a lot of dams. So this was promoted, and this is where I think that we should go, because it's more assuring that when you plant some of these things in the dry season, you'll be able to get the predicted yield as against the wet season, where the climate change is beginning to affect the production. Needless to also say that for wheat, for instance, production of wheat in Nigeria, because of the temperature that is required, you can only grow in the dry season in some northern states. So with wheat, where the bank supported Nigeria to produce, in last year we did about 277,000 hectares, and this year we are looking at about 350,000 hectares, which contributed to Nigerians' wheat self-sufficiency growing to 10% last year, and hopefully this year we'll get to 20%. So with the wheat story in Nigeria too, we need irrigation to be able to promote it. So we are excited about what has been done here. We are happy to see that a product has become, and knowing IWMI very well, we know that this will become a compendium of a lot of knowledge and experiences from all over the world, and help us to get our best practices to our farmers. The African Development Bank is therefore pleased to support and observe the launching of these training materials for supporting irrigated rice production in Africa today. We are convinced that this will be a vital compendium of best practices of irrigation and water management at the field and farm level, and will provide guidance for the development and management of irrigation systems. The launch happening during the 6th Africa Regional conference on irrigation and drainage is also significant to us because it provides for us opportunity for us to disseminate this knowledge very widely. Finally, I would like to convey the bank's very strong support to all productivity enhancing technologies for Africa's agriculture through partnerships with technology generating institutions such as IWMI. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and we look forward to consuming the product that you have come with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Kari. Let's clap for him again. And please extend our gratitude to Dr. Abdul Kamara for sending you to be with us and all for the good works that you have shared with us. We look forward to your support as we also continue to scale these important innovations in Nigeria. Thank you very much. So the Director for Irrigation and Drainage in Nigeria just walked in at the right time, Engineer Mrs. Ronke Oluniyi. So she's here, and we're going to present the training materials to her. And I'm going to ask our DG, Dr. Mark Smith, to present to Engineer Oluniyi the new materials that have been launched. Please come forward. Okay. Okay, so please let's clap. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Madam, can you hold this now yourself? Because you are the flag bearer of irrigation in Nigeria. So please, can you hold? Apparently, these are tools. This one, small-scale irrigation and water management technology for African agriculture transformation is both in English and French, a compendium, as Tabi has said, and these are training materials, a training guide, and a training facilitator's guide. So please help us to advance irrigation in Nigeria with these materials. Let's clap for her. And we will only have copies for the Federal Department of Irrigation, but here you can scan and get the soft copy online. Please scan and you'll have access to that. And feel free to look at all other, please have a seat, all other IWMI publications. They are freely downloadable. Okay, they said that 4 of you should stand together and kindly hold it. Yeah, that's a good one. Go to the middle. Yeah, go to the middle, please. Thank you. Yeah, and I will also stand by you. Yes, thank you very much. We are rounding up, but I would like my DG to say a few words, and then I will also say a few words about what we are now doing in Nigeria, and then I will call the director to speak.
Okay, thank you, Funke. I would like to I want to acknowledge 3 things. The first is getting close to 7 o'clock. So thank you to all of the people in the audience for a long day, but for joining this session, staying with us, and contributing to what's been a really excellent discussion. I would like to acknowledge the Federal Ministry for their tremendous and growing partnership with us. And indeed, as I had remarked in the plenary this morning, we are privileged to be launching our presence as IWMI in Nigeria this week, opening our office under the hosting of our CGIAR sister institute IITA, so we thank them also. I would like also to acknowledge the African Development Bank for the partnership and support that you give to the TAT program for CGIAR and for IWMI, and for your tremendous encouragement to us in what you just outlined for us. I also want to personally acknowledge Engineer I.K. Musa. In the earlier plenary, people were acknowledging their teachers. And Engineer, you may not know this, but you've been quite you've been quite a teacher for me. So some years ago, 12, 13, 14 years ago, I worked for IUCN. We supported the Komodogu Yobe project in northern Nigeria with the leadership of Engineer I.K. Musa. And we learned so much from that program. And we used it for years as an example of how to change a system. And I still use those lessons today, every day, I'm quite sure. So I appreciate that very much. And it's a privilege to be sitting here with you. And I would finally just say, and I think you will be introducing in just a moment, Funke, that as we extend our engagement in Nigeria, we're working on orienting our strategy, making sure that it's addressing the critical priorities that there are in Nigeria. As I expressed this morning, and as Funke also expressed in the plenary, partnership is, we can't do anything alone. Partnership is at the core of what we do. It's part of our core business. It's research and partnership. And we're benefiting greatly from engagement with our Nigerian counterparts in making sure that we are orienting our strategy to the right things, working on the right priorities here in Nigeria. So thank you all so very much.
Thank you very much, Mark. Can you show the 1 minute, 30-second video on IWMI in Nigeria? So I think you will have received a copy of this. I don't see with water resources. Thank you. I had a presentation, but because of time, I'm not going to give the presentation. I have a couple of slides. Okay, so just watch this. Can you start from the beginning again? It's showing...
combines IWMI's water expertise with IITA's...
That is
water
not the beginning.
is the lifeblood of agriculture. And in Nigeria, a new chapter begins for IWMI. Through our hosting agreement with IITA, we are deepening our presence in Nigeria. This collaboration combines IWMI's water expertise with IITA's agronomy leadership to transform food systems from research to real-world impact. This isn't just an office. It's a hub for scalable solutions. Here, our team will advance agricultural water management innovations, climate-smart water tools, and policies that empower millions. Together with our partners, we're bringing science, policy, and practice.
The International Water Management Institute is a research for development organization with global network of researchers, scientists who are operating in more than 55 countries all over the world, mostly in the global south, in Africa and Asia. We've been operating for about 40 years, and our research results have contributed to impact and changes in the life of people where we work. We're very happy to come back to Nigeria to address the water challenges that they are facing.
From Abuja to the farm, And from the farm to the basin, our mission is clear: water security for resilient farms and thriving communities. This hub symbolizes our pledge to work hand in hand with African partners for African solutions. Visit IWMI.org to learn more, and let's cultivate a water-secure future together.
And many years of working on irrigation in Asia and Africa. And we also identified together with Nigerian stakeholders. We started this process about 2 years ago. A lot of consultations within Nigeria. Sometimes they come to Ghana, where our West Africa office is based. And we talked a lot about what should we focus on. And here you will see 7 key areas that we are working on in different ways, different dimensions, I will say. So ranging from early warning system for adaptation to flood and drought, to digital innovation to support decision making in water management. You saw Kumlavi's presentation where he brought out the Nigeria, focusing on Nigeria when it comes to water discharge, river discharge in Africa. Circular water and food economy innovations to promote One Health. My DG talked about some of these things in the morning. We talked about the aspect of strengthening water and irrigation management for climate resilience, future-proofing small water infrastructure for multiple purposes, and building resilience, peace, stability in new frontiers, in conflict areas in Nigeria. And also looking at policy and institutional integration. We're very grateful to Engineer Ike Musa reminding us of the importance of politicians, policymakers, all categories of stakeholders. We understand that the political economy of Nigeria is very, very important if we want to scale any innovation, if we want to have any sustainable intervention in the country. So we are here to continue to work with our partners, and new partners are welcome. Already we have some activities going on in different locations, and we are ready to also do more. So I invite you to join us in this effort. It's a matter of effort, because as my DG said, we can't do it alone. So we want to work with all. So join us in this effort, and we will continue to have more impact stories. Please take time to read through this, and if we are still around, tomorrow we have, in this same room, we have 4 other sessions, and I invite you specifically to join us. We'll be looking at farmer-led irrigation. We want to deep dive into farmer-led irrigation and how to catalyze, investment in farmer-led irrigation in Nigeria. We want to look at the aspect of water, energy, food, ecosystem, nexus, and what it means for water management. We'll be looking at a special seminar that we've been doing together with ECOWAS for the past 2 years now, Water Talk, navigating water realities in West Africa. And there's another session. What is the other session? There's one other session. Anyway, join us here from 2 sessions in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. We'll be meeting here. We want you to join us, and we'll have more time to interact. Don't forget that we have a booth there. If a large space there with a lot of materials and opportunities to meet our delegates. How many IWMI staff are here? Can you raise your hand, stand up so that people can see you? So we have 15 delegations. 15 delegations from, 15 delegations from, I know people with, another one will join us tomorrow covering Asia and Africa, bringing experiences, South-South learning and all that. So I want to say thank you very much to all of you for joining us today. We are going to present something to those people that are here. We're going to present these IWMI souvenirs to them. Thank you, madam. Thank you. In addition, you can put the materials, and thank you very much. Please, let's clap for them. Let's clap for Engineer Ike Musa. I need to give this one to, bring this one to Water Resources. He's not sitting here. A very important partner. They made the only institute on water in Nigeria. in Kaduna. So thank you very much for that. So I will now allow Madam to, no, she's still going to say something. Yeah, and then we will close. Thank you very much.
The Director General of IWMI, let me sincerely express our deep appreciation to the International Water Management Institute for coming big to this program. When they heard about this program, they were very happy and they saw it as an opportunity to key in. They decided that they will be able to host not less than 4 or 5 sessions at this 6th African Regional Conference of ICID. Let that clapping be louder. So, taking permission from our patron, the patron of the Nigerian National Committee on Irrigation and Drainage, one of our patrons, in person of Engineer Inuwa Kuta Musa, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, MNI, MFR. I want to really say all the delegates here, we really, really appreciate you, for being here. And as my own sister have said, you make it a date here also in the next sessions that they will be hosting. Let me say this woman is an iron lady. Clap very well. She is the director, African region. She got promoted last year and we celebrated her. And since that promotion, she has kicked the ball rolling. She's not leaving any stone unturned. Africa will know IWMI for it. So give her another round of applause. We are going to be collaborating as a ministry. The minister is aware, the PAMSEC is aware, and all the departments, especially the technical departments, they are in the picture. And I also talk with Institute, National Water Management Institute. We're going to be collaborating with them in the area of training, capacity building, and so many other things. When that MOU is tidied up by the legal entity in the country, we will do it, and we'll do the MOU, and we'll be good to go. But I also heard that ADB is collaborating with us, so we are good to go. So I'm happy when I chatted with him. I came in a bit late because I was busy with some other official functions. So, I'm happy that we are also together, which means we can do like this. So, and many others that will collaborate with us. But meanwhile, before I round up my speech, I've told you about water management, National Water Resources Institute. Today, this evening, we have a queen of a community. In person of Professor Emeritus, our mama. She graduated from the University of Ife many years ago, and she's a professor, not by nickname, a real professor. And I have to introduce her because of what they will be doing together also with IWMI in the area of training. I've received these materials now. They've written to the ministry that they will be collaborating with us. And she is the chairman. Otumba, are you around? Yeah, please tell us the name again. Okay, thank you very much, Otumba. So we celebrate IWMI and we are in for good times together. Thank you. Clap for yourselves for coming.
Thank you very much, my sister. Thank you, everyone. Sincerely very grateful for staying tuned with us. Since morning, many of you have been here, and we are very grateful. I think the organizers have for us this night the welcome cocktail. They already did, so that we are not left out. So you just walk.
You know each other.
Okay.
So that's what it is. Just
yeah. So you are now welcome to join the cocktail. And thank you. Have a good night, and see you here again tomorrow. Okay, please, photo of. Can we? can we have, yeah. Photograph for my sister. Thank you.